Record press.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you hear me loud and clear? Okay, that's good. Okay, so before we get started, I would like to understand a few things from all of you. How many of you are comfortable with the topics that we have covered so far? Type in me in the chat box. Hello, hello, hello. How many of you are comfortable with whatever we have covered so far? Or rather, let me change the question. Out of 0 to 100, how much percentage are you comfortable? By now, you know that I will not begin until and unless you start responding, right? So respond soon so that we can cover a lot more of things. Are you not able to hear me? Why are there no responses after LNC? Meghna, can you hear me? Whatever I'm talking. Why are people still in LNC? Guys, every session, 15 minutes you're wasting just because you're not responding. Not my loss. Yeah. If you don't respond, we are not starting. If you can hear me, then why are you not responding? How much percentage are you comfortable so far from 0 to 100? I want to understand so that we can plan our next sessions accordingly. Okay, great. Have you started building something? Those of you who have started building something like practicing responsiveness, the data structuring, and all of that, type in me in the chat box. Okay, so for those of you who have started working on it, you will have to submit it, right? So Meghna will share a form which you will have to fill and share your application. Okay. So I'll quickly show how do you submit it so that we can have access to it and we see what you've done. So let me share my screen. I hope you can see Welcome Sahyadri screen. Yeah. Okay. So go to settings and then go to collaboration. Okay. And then here you type in support@grid7.com. Okay. The email ID will also be shared by Meghna along with the form link. So please type in this and then click on invite. Okay, so this particular app is already created using support@red7.com account. So invite will not work. Okay, but once you do it, we will get access to that particular app so that we can see what you've done. We will see what all you have covered and we will give score to it. So please ensure that you finish everything that we have covered so far and submit your application. Is this clear, everyone? You have to go to settings, collaboration, and type in support@red7.com and click on invite. Not transfer, click on invite. Is this clear, everyone? Type in clear in the chat box. Okay. So let's get started. And today's topic is custom events and backend workflows. Firstly, let's understand what is custom events. Custom events are like your functions in your C, C++, or any programming language, right? Which will take some inputs and which will give you output. And you can call it from any other functions or main function. Okay. So if we go to let's say admin page, right? So we have created a very simple admin page last time. Okay, let's assume that we have a couple of places where we are resetting the password for the users. Okay, so this is a user details pop-up that we had created. Okay, and this is a repeating group that we had added, right? Now, let me add an icon on the right side, okay, which can be reset. Yeah, so let's say this is for reset password. I'm going to header and I'm also adding a text here, which will be reset password. Okay. Now we just want this icon to be equivalent to this particular text. Let's make it a 19. It's fine. Let's try it with 18. It's fine. 70. No. So 75 should be good enough. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll make this also a 75. And you can see that it comes in the center. Likewise, we had created this pop-up user. Okay. I will also add a button over here for reset password. Okay. And let me bring this next and change the button color just so that we differentiate between these two. Outline dark, destructive. Let's go with this. Now, both of this button does the same job. That is to send a reset password to the user. Normally, what we would have done is we can add a workflow here, okay, and search for reset, and we have send password reset email. It will ask us for the email to reset, and that will be parent group's users email. Okay. Now, similarly, we have to go to the repeating group, and on this particular button click or icon click, we will do the same thing. That is reset, send password reset email, and this will be parent group's users email. Following so far? Okay, great. Now, since you would have learned C, C++ in your curriculum, you tell me, is it a good practice to create anything that is being used at multiple places? Like create the same thing at multiple places if it is being used at multiple places, or you create a function and then call it from wherever you want, one or two. What is a good practice? Yes, all of you are very smart, right? So we create a function and then call it from wherever we need. Yeah. So the way we create a function in Bubble is to create custom events. Okay. So you can call, you can give a name to this, and let's say we will name this as reset password. Now, one parameter that we need here is we want to understand who is the user for whom we are resetting the password. So I'll create a parameter. So look at it again. So I am creating a parameter from here. Okay. And I'll name it as user. And the type of the data that we are sending is also user. Right. This can be like person or whatever name makes sense for you. Right. Whose password to be reset. So this is that. And this is type of data, which is user type. If you are sending list of things, then it should be, this list should be checked. I don't think we have spoken much about list. Yeah. And if this parameter can be optional, then you can check this box. But in this case, for reset password, we need the user. Only then we can send the password reset email to them. And that's why I will not be checking this box. Click on add. You can see the parameter added over here. Now what I'll do is I'll go here and use the same thing, send password reset email, right? And email to reset will be this parameter that we have got in this particular flow, person email. Okay, so it becomes person's email, and then you can change the subject, you can change the body if you want. Okay, now this was one of the place where I had made this particular what I say, send password reset email. I'll go over here and search for trigger a custom event, right? And because we have only one custom event right now, it will auto select reset password, right? And one of the parameter that we needed for this particular custom event to run is user named person. So we can mention it as parent groups user. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this, go to the reset password button, delete this, right? And paste the custom event flow, which is again trigger reset password. Okay. And person is parent groups user. Is this making sense? Are you able to follow this? Okay. Now, as we already know, if we go to this particular custom event and make any changes, it will get reflected in both the places. Okay. I'll show you how this entire thing works. First, let's see how the password reset email is being sent, and then we will make changes to see how it's all working. Right. So let me go to let's say this particular user. And P. Okay, what is the admin is no, then homepage. Is this user not admin? Okay, abc@gmail.com. Yes. Okay, so I'll be trying out for this particular user, abc@7.com. I'll click on reset password. I hope I receive an email. I see that a few of you have already shared the invite to your app. Thank you for that. But you'll have to fill the form so that we can review it and then give you scores. Just a minute. Did not receive the email. Okay. So I've received it now. Let me just share. Are you able to see my screen with the password email reset? Yeah. So you can see that it says hello. Someone, hopefully you, submitted a request to reset your password. If it wasn't you, please ignore this message. If it was you, you can reset your password at the below link. Now, closely observe, the reset link is added at the bottom, right? After the body. And normally you can change the change the body, right? Let's say, for example, hello, and admin has reset the password for your account. Okay. If you didn't request, expect this. Please ignore this message. If it was expected, you can reset your password at the below link. So you can change the body the way you want. And what happens is, let's say I open this and I'll reset the password from here, right? Let me open up the password reset email that I get. It'll take a few seconds before I can receive it. Now come. Okay, I've got it. Now, can you see my screen again with the email? Yeah. So you can see that the body has changed, right? Hello, an admin has reset the password for your account. If you didn't expect this, please ignore this message. If it was expected, you can reset your password at the below link. Okay. The body has got changed, but the reset password link is still at the bottom. Now let's assume that we want to change this. We want this particular link to come over here before the signature, right? I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to the custom event, and we have something called just make token, don't send email. Okay. And then we have an option of send email. So here it asks us to whom do you want to send it. So we can say person's email, sender name, let's say Swayadri, subject, password reset. Okay, and then we can copy paste the same thing over here. But here what we will do is you can reset your password by clicking here. And this one we will change it to link. This here text. Okay, I'll show you again how I'm doing it. This is the body that we have added. Click on this rich text editor. And then over here, okay, select this here and click on this last icon, insert a link. And here we can insert any link. So for now, I'm just going to add google.com. I'll show you why and how do we change it. I'll click on save, right? So the entire URL should come over here. Okay, within this. Now, if you closely observe the link that we had got for reset password, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this particular link. I am opening this app and this is the link. Okay, closely observe. So we have this Sayadri begin C1 dot bubbleapps.io /version test /reset password question mark reset equal to some number, or rather some key, right? So I will copy this. I'll go back to this particular link, and here I'll insert that particular link that I copied. There are a few things which are dynamic here, which means it has to change for every user, right? Every time you reset a password, this particular number has to change. And the way we do that is remove this. And while the, what to say, while this particular point is active, click on insert dynamic data and result of step 1. Okay. So because we have mentioned just make token, don't send email. Okay. It will generate the token that is required for reset password, which is basically this 32 digit. Yeah, I believe it's 32 characters. Yeah. So that will be generated. And here we are going to use this. Is this clear so far? Or do you want me to repeat anything? Yeah. I'm going very slowly, step by step, so that you understand every bit of it. Okay. But if you're confused with anything, please do let me know. Thank you, everyone, for responding. Now, we have done this. There are a few things that we have to keep in mind. Okay. And I want to just touch base upon it. Right. So this particular link that we have here, okay, is the subdomain associated with our application. How many of you know what is domain and subdomain? Are you aware of it? +1, -1. Do you know what is domain, subdomain? Okay. Okay, a lot of you don't know. So let's quickly check what is that, and then we will come back. So if you go to chatgpt.com, right? So this is a domain. Okay, domain is a web address which you can call, right? So chatgpt.com is a domain. Rit7.com is a domain. Okay, the main domain is rit7.com, right? Whereas hub.rit7.com is a subdomain. Okay, so subdomain is already always controlled by the person who owns the domain. It cannot be that I own the domain and somebody else owns the subdomain, right? So if you go to Google, so here we have drive.google.com, right? So this is a subdomain. What is the main domain of drive.google.com, everyone? What is the main domain of drive.google.com? Okay, great. Now let's see a couple of examples. And so what is this, domain or a subdomain? Airbnb.co.in. Hello, everyone. If you didn't understand, please put -1 so that I can explain it again. Please type out -1 if you have not understood what is domain and subdomain. And if you have understood what is domain and subdomain, please let me know whether airbnb.co.in is a domain or a subdomain. Hello, everyone. Come on, be active. Respond. Let's quickly get some more examples. Okay, what is this? LinkedIn.com/feed. Is it a domain or a subdomain? Yeah, so LinkedIn.com is a domain. Airbnb.co.in is also a domain. Okay, it would have been a subdomain if there was abc.airbnb, right? So firstly, we have to check the domain, and if there is anything before the domain with a dot in between, right, then that becomes a subdomain. Is this clear, everyone? Now tell me, what is this app.view360.sc? Is it a domain or a subdomain? Come on. Quick. Yes, you've got it right. Great. Now let's go back to this one. Sahyadri-begin-c1.bubbleapps.io. Is it a domain or subdomain? Yeah, it's a subdomain. Now, once the app is live, right? Once everything is ready and we want to launch it, and we go to settings and we go to general, and okay, because we are not in the paid plan right now, we are, right? They've changed the, yeah, it's here, domain and email, right? So we can add the domain or the subdomain to this particular application from here. Okay, we will come to that a bit later at the end, but I want you to concentrate on something important, and that's why I'm talking about this. Okay, so the domain or subdomain can be linked over here. Okay, but when we link this domain, so for example, this is also a bubble application. right? We have linked the subdomain here, which is app.view360.se, right? And once we link it, the link to reset the password will no longer be Sahyadri begin C1 bubble apps.io. Okay, it will change basis whatever domain or subdomain that you have linked. So if you don't do a setting here right now, when you change the domain or subdomain, you will have to come to all the places where you've used these links and change it. So the best practice is wherever there is link of your application, select that much, including HTTPS, click on insert dynamic data and search for home website home URL. Okay. Website home URL will also include this version test, so we can remove that as well, including this last slash. Okay. Let me just copy this, show you what is the website home URL showing us. I'll insert dynamic data. I'll click on this website home URL. So let's refresh this page to see what is the website home URL. You can see here the HTTPS Sahyadri begin C1 bubble apps.io slash version test slash. So this particular link is coming from website home URL. Okay. So the reset password link would become website home URL, reset password, question mark, reset equal to result of step one's password key. Is this clear, everyone following? Okay. Now, as we can already see, because we used function, okay, that is custom event, we don't have to go to every place and make this change, right? We make the change in the custom event, and wherever we have used it, it will automatically update it. Rather, what we are doing, like a function call itself. So when we are clicking on this button, it is making a function call, right? And the function call is this one. Because we have updated the function, the output will be as expected from the function. Yeah. So custom event is clear to everyone. Can we move on? Okay. Thank you everyone for the confirmation. The next topic for today is backend workflows. What are backend workflows? Who can guess it? Guess it from the name. What backend workflows might mean. Anyone? Any guesses? What are backend workflows? Stores data? No. Okay. How many of you have observed this? Let's say, for example, you have okay, you have booked a flight ticket or train ticket, okay, to travel from, let's say, Mangalore to Bangalore. Okay. How many of you remember that you get a reminder or something like that? You get a reminder via WhatsApp, you get a reminder via, uh, it could be Redbus or something like that you have used, and you get a reminder on WhatsApp, you get a reminder, let's say, via text. Anybody recalls this? Hello, hello, hello. Do you get such reminders or no? Nobody gets, huh? Um, yeah, you get WhatsApp, mail, normal messages, right? So are you active on that particular platform at that particular moment? Because whatever workflows we have added here, so for example, this particular password reset thing, right? When is this happening? This is happening when I click on this button, right? Or it is happening when I open this particular pop-up and then click on this button. Okay. So all the workflows that we have seen so far are getting triggered because of a user's action, right? So there is a user who clicks on something and because of which there is some action happening. But what do you think? If you have booked a ticket from Mangalore to Bangalore, okay, on Red Bus, will there be a person sitting on the system waiting for it to like be 8 o'clock? Let's assume that the bus is at 9 o'clock, right? So 1 hour before it, is there some person who sits and sends this reminder for everybody? Yes or no? No, guys, that's not how it works. Imagine how many people keep traveling every day, right? That's not possible. One more example. Let's talk about this. How many of you shop on Amazon or Flipkart or all of these platforms? Online shopping. Most of us do that, right? So as soon as you make an order, you get a confirmation, and the day of the delivery, you get a confirmation that the item has been, what is it, sent for delivery today, right? Do you think that all of this, some human is sitting and clicking the buttons? The reminders and all of this? No, right? So all of this happens on their server. Okay. So whatever happens on the server side in Bubble is called backend workflows, right? It's not a trigger from the front end. It is a backend workflow which is running on the server. What I mean by backend workflow is the workflows that we have seen so far is getting triggered on the page, right? When a human is interacting with the system. Okay. If I close the browser, then there is no workflow that is running over here. But backend workflows are workflows that run on Bubble server. Even if there is no active users, if you want to run something, you can still do that, right? The triggers can still be from the front end. but the workflow is running from the server side. Clear, everyone? Can we move on to understand how do we create backend workflows and how do we use it? Okay. So when we were doing it on the front end, we had to use some button or icon or something like that, and we clicked on add workflow from here. Okay. And that was the trigger to generate the action. When we go to the backend workflow, okay, we have again custom events are available in backend workflow also. The same concept, right? You can call a custom event from within the backend workflow. It is like a function added on the server. Okay. So we will not touch this now because we have already understood how this works. Let's go to general, and then we have new API workflow. Okay. So I'll select this particular thing, and it will ask us what is the name of the workflow that you want to run. Right. Now, there are a couple of reasons why we have to use backend workflows, right? Number one reason, this can be accessed from any page. Okay. So here, if we have any workflows, that is accessible from within that particular page only. Okay. Even the custom event that we have can be accessed from within this page only. But if we create something on the back end, that can be accessed from any page. Okay. Number one reason. The second reason is it is running on the server. Okay, so irrespective of whether your internet connection is good or not, whether you are online or not, this will still run. And of course, because it is running on the server, it is the most secure way of running workflows. Clear so far? Let's give a name to it and we will move on. Now, name could be anything, right? Let's say, for example, test backend. Now you can see that we have 3 checkboxes here. Okay. I will leave all of this unchecked for now. We will come to it a bit later. Now we have a parameter here. Okay, we can create a parameter just like we created for custom events, right? So you can give a name, let's say user, and it'll ask you what is the data type. And make it as user, right? Again, list optional. The same concept that we saw in the creation of custom event. You can add multiple parameters as well. Okay. Now here is the action that you have to create. Okay, let's take the example of reset password itself, right? I'm going to use the same thing. And I'll say this is user's email, right? And I'll also select this particular box. Now we'll go over here. I'll get this particular step. I'll come to the backend workflow and paste this. Now it says not found. Just select user, right? It came as not found because we were working with a person or something like that. Here we have changed the parameter as user. Okay. Here also we will make it as a result of step 1. Okay. Now the beauty of this is I can schedule this to run whenever I want. Okay. Now in this particular case, what we did is we had to run this particular thing immediately, right? Trigger reset password. I'll delete this. And the way we can call the backend workflow is schedule API workflow. Okay. We have to use schedule API workflow. Then it'll ask us, what is the API workflow name? So if you go to the backend workflow, the name is whatever we have given here, right? Test backend. So I'll go back and select this particular thing. Of course, there is just one backend workflow. Okay, so I'll select that. It'll ask us who is the user. Again, parent group's user. One additional parameter that we have to fill here is when do you want this to run? Okay, normally if you want to run this immediately, then search for current. And you have an option called current date and time, which means it has to run exactly right now. Okay. If you want this to be running, let's say 15 seconds later, then what you have to do is this current date and time, click on that, click on this more, click on plus seconds and add 15. If you want this to run after 15 minutes, then make it as plus minutes. If you want this to run after an hour, then make it as plus hours 1. You can also plus days, plus months, plus years. Okay. I'll quickly show you what's happening behind the scenes. Okay. So I'll click on this particular user. Let's go to logs and we have something called scheduler. I'll click on show and there you see, right? So test backend is scheduled to run 1 hour from now, which is 4:41 p.m. Okay. Now, even if I close this browser, even if I'm not online, right, this will still run because it has been scheduled to run from Bubble's server. Okay. Of course, reset password is not a very good example for this particular use case. But what is happening when we book a ticket? So we know what is the travel date and time, right? So what the system does is it schedules a reminder to be sent 1 hour before the travel date and time. And automatically at that particular time, the workflow will be triggered and we will get the reminders. Does that make sense? Is it clear now as to what is backend workflow? Yeah, is this clear, everyone? Okay, good. Now, there are a few things that are available over here. We will not go through this right now, okay? But if you don't know what these are, okay? So until we cover this particular things, what you can do is you can click on ignore privacy rules when running the workflow, okay? And this workflow can be run without authentication. Do not click on expose as a public API workflow, right? Do not do this, at least until you understand what this is. Is this clear, everyone? Now, because this is running on the server and we can schedule it to run, okay, we can also create something called a recurring workflow, right? Which keeps calling itself based on certain condition. Okay, let's look at an example like that. So if you go to data, we have this users, right? And if you go to app data, we have like 120 users. Now, let's assume that I want to add a roll number to all the users. Okay, so I'm adding a field called roll number, which will be of type number. Okay, and I want to fill this for all the users. How do I do it? Should I go to each user, click on edit, and then add the roll number? How do I add the roll number for all the users? Okay, now considering that we have 120 users, right? I can either start from the first user, okay, where I can put roll number as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Or I can start from the last where I put the roll number as 120, then 119, 118, and so on and so forth. Right? Can I start in between suddenly? Like, can anybody tell what is the roll number for this particular user? Can we start in between? Anyone? Yes, no? Hello, hello, hello. It's getting boring, huh? Nobody wants to respond now. Shall we stop it here? Okay. Yeah. So logically, it is not making sense to start from between, right? So we have to come in sequential order, right? Either from the beginning or from the last. And we will know the roll number of this particular user if we know what is the roll number of this user or this user, right? So assuming that we are starting from last, right? We will be able to add the roll number for this particular user only if we know the roll number of the first user. So this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4. So we have to update the roll number of the user one by one. Okay. And for that, for the first time, we are going to use something called list of items in the parameter. I'm going to create a new API workflow and we will name this as update roll number. By default, this will be checked. Please uncheck this. Okay. The reason I'm telling you this is because expose as public API workflow would mean that anybody from outside your application, okay, if they understand the URL of your app and the what is it name of the function, they can call it from outside, right? Of course, this requires this workflow can be run without authentication and stuff like that, but do not take a risk. Okay, uncheck this box immediately as soon as you create the backend workflow. You can check this box only after you understand what that particular box checkbox does, and if you want that particular setting. Okay. Now I'll click on ignore privacy rules when running the workflow. This is fine. So we'll disable this also. Now here the parameter is going to be all users, and type of data will be user. But this time it is not just user, but it is list. It's a list of users that we are getting. Okay. List of users we are getting. Now closely observe. I'm going to data. I'm going to make changes to thing. And now we have got a list of things. Okay. So let me open sheets.new. And we're getting a list of things. So this is users. This is roll number. So let's assume this is user one, this is user two, user three. Right? So I'll first update this one. I'll first then update this one, then this one, this one, this one. So I'll go one by one. Okay, even though I've got a list of users, right? I'm taking the first item, updating the roll number, then taking the second item, then updating the roll number, taking the third item, updating the roll number. That's the flow that we're going to create now. So what is the thing that we want to change is all users. All users is a list of things, and we want to update just the first item out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm selecting first item, right? So we are going to change the first item from all users list. And what are we going to change here? Is the roll number. Okay. Because we want to update the roll number and it is going to start with 1, I'm going to add one more parameter and call this as roll number. And this time it is number. I'm going over here and I'm going to just make this as roll number. Not roll number, sorry. Roll number is getting updated to roll number. Now, let me run this from the front end. Let's see what happens. I'm going back to the admin page. And let's remove this particular thing. And we will add a button, which will be update roll numbers. Add workflow. Like before, we will schedule an API workflow. And this time we are going to call update roll number. It is asking us who are the users that you want to send. So we will do a search for, and we will search for users without any constraints. Okay. And we just want to sort it by. We can either sort it from here or we can sort it from here also. Right. Create a take. Ascending is no. Descending is no. Roll number, we begin with 1. So I'll give that as parameter. Scheduled date is current date and time. And I will put plus seconds 20 just to show you. Right. Now closely observe what happens. I'm going to log in as this user. So I'll click on this one. We'll go back to the logs. Click on show. This particular thing is going to run tomorrow. We don't need it, so I'll cancel this. But let's see this one, right? This is going to run in a few seconds from now. Okay. How many roll numbers will be updated now? Everyone? Will it update for all the users? Yes, no, don't know. Others, come on, come on, come on. Yes, no, don't know. What do you think? Will it update the roll number for all the users? Okay, let's see that. I'll click on show again here, right? The backend workflow. This should have already run and this will not be shown anymore. So you see that it has already run. So we'll go back to the data. And if we add the roll number field, right? Come back, like if we go down, 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 roll number is updated only for the first user. The reason being, we have mentioned all users first item roll number equal to roll number. Only the first item has been updated. Now, how do we get to the second number? We will schedule API workflow, right? Update roll number. That is the API call that we want to make. Now, roll number is equals to roll number plus 1. Okay. So roll number is roll number plus 1. Scheduled date is current date and time. Okay, let it run immediately. Now we can mention this ignore privacy rules. Now, what are the all users? So once I'm done with the first user over here, okay, once I'm done with the first user here, what I'll do is I will hide this and then I'll make this as 2 because we are handling one item at a time. Okay, we can either do it this way or we can also do it like item number. Okay, I'll show you both the ways. Yeah. Now, first way is all users minus item. Okay, all users first item. This particular thing might be slightly confusing, but what this is doing is from all users, it is minusing the first user. Okay, first item. Okay, so the way this flows is we'll get all users from here. Roll number is 1. It will go to the first user, make the roll number as 1. Then it will call this function again. The function is calling itself, right? And it will keep calling this with roll number being added by 1 each time. And then the top item being removed from the list of items. And here we will put one condition, which is all users count is greater than 1. If all users count is greater than 1, then keep calling it again and again. If all users item is equal to 1, stop. Right? So what we are doing is we have added 2. We are going to hide this. Okay. We'll keep doing this function until we have updated all the rows. Right? So we'll make it as 4, hide it, 5, hide it, 6, hide it, 7, hide it, and so on and so forth. Until we reach this particular this thing and we add 25 here and we stop it there. So far, is it clear? Are you able to follow it? Okay. Now, let me run this from here. I'll click on this one. Let's go to the database. Let me click on refresh data. And what this does is it will update the roll number. Oh, we have given 15 seconds delay. It's taking 15 seconds. Yeah. So it has come until 10 and stopped. Okay. The reason being if we go to settings, if we go to general, I've shifted it somewhere, API. Yeah. So in the API section, we have maximum workflow depth in dev mode is 10. Okay. The reason they added this is because if at all you don't give this condition, let's assume you have not given this condition, what will happen? Can anybody guess? Think through the flow and tell me what will happen if I don't give the condition. Or if I give a condition which will never be true. What will happen? Anybody? If I don't give a condition here, or if I give a condition that will never be true, what will happen? You know looping in C or C++, right? Loops you know, right? Yeah. So there is, you start with a number, you give a condition, right? Infinite loop. Exactly. So it gets into an infinite loop if you don't give a proper condition which will be met after a certain amount of what do you say iterations. And to avoid that, because a lot of new developers who do not understand the concepts of development, okay, start trying the backend workflow, and there are high chances that they miss to add that particular condition, right? Sometimes even experienced developers will miss that. And because if they miss it, then what is happening? Bubble server is getting loaded, okay, for unnecessary usage. That's why they've added this 10 by default. But if you want it for 100, we can update to 100. If you want it for 1K, we can update it to 1K. I'll make it as 100 for now, right? And now I'll go ahead and click on this button again. There is nothing else we changed. There was a default setting that Bubble had done, okay, which would run only for 10 cycles, 10 iterations, right? Now we have made it to 100. So if we go to data and refresh this particular thing, oh, again, you have given a delay of 15 seconds. And this will run for hundreds of 100 users, right? You can see that it is updated until 46. It's still running in the backend, right? You can see that it is getting updated. Okay, done until 100 it runs. Of course, if you need more, you just have to enable it for 1K, 10K, whatever it is, it will get updated. Okay. Now, this is one way of doing it, right? The second way, what you can do is here, all users, instead of first item, here, because we mentioned it as first item, we had to remove the first item from here. Okay. That is like we did the hide. Okay. This was more like that. There's one more way, which is all users, item number. Okay. And roll number is nothing but item number itself. So first item will be roll number 1, second item will be roll number 2, third item will be roll number 3, and so on and so forth. So you can mention roll number. Okay. So all users, item roll number. Right. And if you do this, then you don't have to remove the items from here. You can send all users. So here what you're doing is all users item roll number equal to roll number. While scheduling, you are incrementing the roll number by 1 and you're sending all the users. Right? Let me quickly show you that. For the last 20 users, let's do it for the last 20 users. Right? So from the admin side, when I'm sending the list of users, what I do is I'll add a constraint here and I'll tell roll number is empty, right? I know that we have updated till 100, so I'll send the roll number as 101. Okay, we are sending it only for 20 users, and this should work. So click on this one. We've given a delay of 15 seconds, so we should be able to see that here, right? In 15 seconds, this will run. Not yet. Yeah, it's run. And if you go to data, and if we refresh, yeah. Or did we add the condition here? So now we have to add a condition here, which is all users count is less than or equals to roll number. Okay. I missed to add that, but oh, this is not run. Why? Let me quickly debug why it has not run. So we have sent all users, the roll number we have sent. Here we are doing all users, item, roll number. Oh yeah, got it. Sorry for the confusion. We sent 20 items, okay, because we had a total of 120 and 100 were already updated. So I sent 20 items with a condition that was roll number is empty, right? Out of 120, only 20 number is not having roll numbers. And roll number we sent as 101. Okay. Here what we did is we said all users, item, roll number. Roll number was 101. So from all users, it is expecting the 101th item. But all user has just 20 items. So I'll just change this one to 1 again. Okay, and let's run this. For item from 101 to 120, it will update the number. Okay, so we can do one more thing, which is go here and say roll number is roll number plus 100. Okay, that's because we are sending the roll number as 1 from the workflow here, whereas it should have been 101. Okay, so I'm adding 100 from the backend workflow. So I'm clicking on this one. As we saw the previous time, this will come here. If we change this to current date and time, it will not take those 15-20 seconds. Yeah, just because we have given those 20 seconds, it is taking that 20 seconds. Otherwise, it will not take. Okay, it should have already run. And let's quickly check if this is updated. Yeah, 101 is updated. What was the condition that I've given here? All users count is less than or equals to the roll number. Oh, no, condition is wrong. Count is greater than or equals to. Sorry for the confusion. I'll just go ahead and remove this particular roll number from here. We'll update. So 20 seconds. And there you go. Yeah. So 101, 102, 103, and all the way until 120. Is this clear, everyone? Did you follow what happened and how we changed it? Any questions? Any questions? Do you have any confusions in whatever we have covered today? So we covered three topics today, right? One is the custom events. Then we covered the basic of backend workflow. Then we covered the recurring event, which is your loops in your C, C++, right? For loop. Okay. So tell me, out of 10, how much did you understand the custom events first? So rate your understanding of custom events from 1 to 10. Type in the chat box. Come on, quick, 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 quick. Why are the roll number is being updated from bottom to top? Uh, it's the first item, whichever is created is comes at the bottom, right? This is the first item that was created. And while we were sending it from here, okay, we like whenever, so we have done it as sorted by created date. Descending is no. Okay. So what it does is it basically takes the first item from the bottom, right? The latest one will be on the top. Is that clear, Akshay? Come on, come on, come on. So many people are in the class. Why is the response only from 5, 6 people? 5, 6 on Zoom and 3, 4 on YouTube. Come on, what's your understanding of custom events from 1 to 10? What's the rating? Yeah. So I see that there is someone with 6 rating and a few from for 7 rating. Do you have any questions with regards to custom events, or it is just that you want to practice and then you will get through? Do you have any questions? Practice, okay. So please do practice, right? Think about some use cases. If you don't have any use case for custom events, do not worry. Just open some random blank page, right? Create 2 buttons, right? Create 2 buttons. And for both the buttons, link that custom event. Make the change in the custom event. Click this button, see if the change is happening or not. Click the other button, see if the change is happening or not, right? It's just as simple as calling a function in your coding. Yeah, do practice. Now let's come to backend workflow. How would you rate yourself? I mean, how would you rate your understanding of backend workflows? Not the recurring, the normal backend workflow that we did, which was basically to Again, send the reset email. There is nothing fancy. A lot of people get confused with backend workflow, but there is nothing fancy, right? You just go here and create workflow, API workflow, and then call it from the front end or from wherever you want. The method you call it is schedule an API workflow, right? Nothing much. How much would you rate your understanding of backend workflow? Come on, everyone. We have 30 students in the class, only 2 people responding. That's not fair. Okay, decent enough, not too bad. Now, how much would you rate your understanding for the recurring event that we just did for the roll number? Hello, everyone. Come on. Okay, not bad. So, do you have any questions with regards to any of the things that we covered today? We can open for Q&A session. Ask any questions that you have, and I'll answer them. Anything from anybody? Any questions? Any doubts? Any confusions? If you don't have any questions, type in no in the chat box. Okay, that is great. Great to see that you have understood whatever we have covered today and so far. Please do practice, everyone. And we have a session tomorrow at the same time where we will be handling Q&A, right? So please do mention, like Meghna might send a poll tomorrow morning, okay, to ask if you have any questions. Please do answer that poll, and accordingly we can plan the session. Okay, then if there are no questions from anybody, we can wind up. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening, and see you all tomorrow. Yeah, Akshay, you have a question? Please shoot your question. So you need to practice whatever we have done so far, right? Even if you repeat whatever I have taught in the class, that is fine. And that application needs to be submitted in the form. Okay. And if you have any questions with regards to that, right, we will cover that during tomorrow's Q&A session. So please do attend. And even if you don't have questions, please join because you might be able to learn something new from others' question. Is that clear? Akshay, you had some question. Do you want to shoot? Link is the link of your application. Okay. So let me share the screen again. And the link is your application link, this one. Okay. But you should share me the link only after you do this collaboration thing, right? So you have to go to collaboration, invite a user. Here, email address should be support@rich7.com, whatever is mentioned over here, right? Not the agency, just support@rich7.com, right? So once you type in this, click on invite. Okay. Once you invite and once you can see our email address here, that's when copy this email, the link, and share it in the form. Is that clear? Akshay, Hare Krishna, and everyone else. Is that clear? Yeah. Thank you so much for joining the session and for being a wonderful audience. See you tomorrow. Have a nice evening. Submit this form, okay, before Monday, and we will evaluate this during the next week. Thank you once again. Bye.